native village during the Khmer Rouge regime, or what happened to them?
My parents were evacuated by the Khmer Rouge into the jungle.
When was that your parents were evacuated?
It was in late 1973.
Why were they taken from their homes to the jungle?
I did not know the reason, and I dare not question that either.
Was it just your parents, or were others in the village forced to leave their homes?
All the villagers, two or three villages had to be evacuated into the jungle.
Sir, let me go now to after the victory of the Khmer Rouge in April 1975. What was your first job after the Khmer Rouge victory?
At the beginning, they assigned me as the militiaman, and then later on, they recruited me and sent me to the district office, and I did not know the uh, level clearly, but I only knew that it was the district office.
Okay, when you said you first, after April 1975, were assigned to the militia, were you again a commander? And if so, how many militia did you command?
At that time, I was no longer a commander. I was an ordinary militiaman together with other militiamen. Two or three of us would go from in the village and monitors in the village.
Okay. You said you then were sent to the district office. Was that the Preah Nepreah office?
Yes, that is correct.
Do you recall when that was, or whether it was, what year it was, whether it was dry season, rainy season?
It was quite close to the beginning of rainy season in 1975.
Who was the head of the district, Preah Nepreah, when you started your job there?
Lum. Before Lum was in charge of Burnett Brass district office.
Was Loom eventually replaced?
Yes, later Tamaung replaced him.
after Loom was removed, did you know if he was punished or given another job?
To my knowledge, he was sent back to Battambang.
In your statement somewhere you mentioned seeing him in a car. Did you later see him in a car, and tell us what that meant to you?
At that time, he was taken to a car from the zone.
Okay, I'll move on. I may come back to that later. Sir, the job that you had in the district office, can you explain what your job was? What kind of work did you do?
When I was in the district office, I did not have a major role. I only received the uh, instruction from the district leaders that I need to send people from Phnom Penh to different places, and I also had to have distribute supplies and foods for them.
Did you work with a census?
No, that was not my responsibility. It was somebody else's responsibility for that.
Did you have statistics that you used in the distribution? And did you use a census in making the distribution?
Yes, at that time there was a census conducted so that they could manage the demographics of the regions so that we could distribute supplies and food accordingly.
When you talk about a census, can you just explain what kind of information was available there, was gathered through the census? Did you have the names of everyone who lived in the district?
No, we only had the total number of people. We did not have the exact names of people.
Do you know how that was determined? Did village chiefs or someone else actually list the names? If you don't know, please say so.
To my understanding, it was reported by the village chief and the commune chief.
Did someone actually record your name for a census?
No, as for the names, I don't think, to my knowledge, that it was recorded.
What was your next job? Mobile Brigade?
At the time, I was the chief, but I did not have the overall supervision of the brigade. I got assistance from others too.
Thank you. How many workers were under you?
Around 600 to 1,000 people, but I had to supervise with the assistance from others as well.
What was the age range of those in the Youth Mobile Brigade?
From 13 years of age to about 27, 28 years of age, because at that time I was about 28.
Now, at some point, were you taken from a district mobile brigade and moved to something else?
That I do not recall, because I worked at the district office for about 6 months, and then they took me out.
Okay, thank you. Let me just try to refresh your recollection. In your DC cam, when you spoke to you recall, first of all, that one of the interviews that you gave was with someone from DC cam, a couple people from DC cam who met you. Let's see. And talked about the Trapang Taman Dam in 2011. Do you recall speaking to someone named Danny and Dada in 2011?
Response: I recall some of the events.
Okay, in that interview on page that's Khmer, it's the ERN 00728790. It's page 14 in English, and in French it is at 011237715. You were asked by Danny, when did you move from district mobile to state region? And you said it was in 1976, approximately in October. So my question is, what did you mean that you moved from the district mobile to the state?
It means that the use mobile brigades attached to the district is different from that of the region or the sectors level.
So when you said, at least in my translation, state region, you were transferred to a sector level brigade? Is that what you meant?
Yes, because they recruited the them from the youth mobile brigades of the district, and then they attached them to the sectors level.
some conflicts between the state and cooperative level about food. Can you explain that? About rations?
Because at that time, the mobile brigades and the cooperatives work differently. For example, for us at the mobile brigades, we were given two cans of rice. As for the cooperatives, they did not have the same food ration because they consider the mobile brigades as the core force.
Do you know what the ration was for the cooperatives at that time?
To some of my knowledge, I did not know much about the cooperatives, but I heard from people who told me, they said that they had access to about half a can of rice per day, and there were certain circumstances when they did not have it at all.
Sir, I want to ask you about a document. I'm going to read something from a document. It's E3/1181. E3/1181. It's a short document, and I'm reading the paragraph marked number 4. So in all 3 languages, it's easy to follow. And this is a document in Khmer dated 27 June 1977. And sir, what it says is, Preah Net Preah, the population of Preah Net Preah prior to 17 April was 150 families. More than 70,000 have come from Phnom Penh. More 30,000 people are in Preah Net Preah in post-17 April period. Preah Net Preah and Prasat sub-districts compose of a good number of no-good elements. Preah Kham, let me just stop there for a moment. What I've read so far, is that accurate as far as you recall?
Excusez-moi de vous interrompre.
Mr. President, sorry for interrupting.
The President, Council, you may proceed.
Merci.
Simply an observation, maybe to assist the interpreters, you could provide them with the ERN so that they could follow at the same time, because at least in French, it's a little bit difficult to follow the excerpts that are being quoted.
President, Mr. Prosecutor, you may proceed.
The ERN, because it's a short document and they're marked by paragraphs, so I was reading paragraph 4, so all 3 languages have that marked as number 4. Sir, is that accurate, what I read about Preah Net Preah?
Before 1975, I did not know how many people there were back then. I simply did not know.
Is it correct what it says that it said more than 30,000 are in Preah Net Preah in post-17 April period? Is that correct?
Yes. Council, you may proceed. prosecution wishes to use this document, he should explain to the court first on the nexus of this document with the witness in question, because the presentation of the document to the witness, of which the witness is not aware, then I'm of the view that we do not establish the credibility on the evidence being examined. The prosecution should ask whether or not this witness is aware of this document at all.
Your Honor, the document speaks about Preah Net Preah, where this witness was born, is from, and was working at the time in the district office. So he has knowledge of Preah Net Preah. What I'm reading is simply to ask him, with his personal knowledge, to either confirm or correct whether this is true or not. So, sir, if I can just try to finish this quickly. There is another point in this document. It says it is the worst place of starvation, which last year alone killed more than 20,000 people. So again, this document is dated June 77. In 1976, are you aware of people starving in Preah Net Preah, sir?
In that year, of course, people died. Some died at the site, and as for the number, I did not know the number.
I'm going to go on to another document, and this is E3-1783. The portion I'm reading, the Khmer ERN 00659-260, in French 00606766, and in English 0049180, and over to the next page. I believe it was read to the last witness by defense counsel, but sir, this is a document from the Khmer Rouge period that actually is labeled It says that standing on the Trapang Tamal Reservoir in the 5th region of the Northwest Zone, the guests and hosts could see the mountains in the distance and a motorboat sailing in the lake, and enjoyed the wonderful scenery. Comrade Nim Ros, second vice president of the Presidium of the State of Democratic Kampuchea, secretary of the Northwest Zone Committee of the KCP, and the chairman of the Northwest Zone Serve the People Committee, said that the reservoir was built in less than 2 months by the people of the 5th region of the Northwest Zone in response to the call of the party Central Committee to build water conservancy projects in a big way. Before I read this to you, I should go back and ask you, sir, at some point, were you sent to work at the Trapang Tamal Dam site?
Yes, I was sent to work over there too in early 1976, maybe in April or May, when people had to harvest their crops.
Before I ask you about construction underway, or were you the very first group to arrive?
When I arrived there, I saw people were constructing the dam, so I think the project was underway.
Well, sir, in your prior statements, you said, well, let me just ask you, do you remember when the project started? What month and year?
I do not recall it clearly, but to my recollection, it started in early 1976. But I cannot recollect it very well.
Okay. Sir, can you tell us how long you were at the dam? How long?
I worked there until late 1977.
Do you recall then approximately how long you worked there? How many months?
Approximately from May 1976 till December 1977 or 78. I cannot recall it well.
Okay. So you're saying you were there for over a year. Is that correct?
Yes.
Runyam went on to say, the same page, he said, drought set in when we started to build the reservoir, and the 20,000 people engaged in construction even had not enough drinking water. Do you recall that to be the case when you were there, that there was insufficient water?
Yes, I recall it. At that time, we faced the shortage of water, and there were trucks carrying water to supply it to us.
During the day when you would work there, did you have water to drink or not?
During the daytime, we had water to drink, but it was not sufficient. Those who were stationed close to the lake, they had access to waters, but those who were a bit far from the lake, they received the water from the trucks carrying water for them.
When you worked at the dam, were you leading a group? Were you leading the Youth Mobile Brigade or another group?
At the beginning, I was a member, and later on, I was reassigned to carry number one quality fertilizer.
Well, we'll come back to that in a moment, but when you were a member, what do you mean by a member? Did you supervise others, or were you just an ordinary worker? was the chief at that time?
No.
Initially, it was Tawal, who was the overall chief of all the mobile units.
How long did you work as Taval's assistant?
I worked as his assistant for about 4 months, and then I was reassigned to carry fertilizer.
Why were you assigned to carry fertilizer?
They made a reassignment, and I did not know the reason for that, and I did not dare to ask them why I was being reassigned.
I'll come back to that in a moment. Before the dam began, are you aware of any meeting that Taval had about the work?
They
I could not know about that. The meetings at that level will be held at the sector. They will discuss other matters, including the work plan. That is to my understanding.
Did Taval inform you and others about meetings he attended about the dam construction?
When he returned, the information was disseminated to various units under his subordinates. They spoke about the overall plan of the dam construction, the size of the reservoir, and the timeline of the project.
Did they say who the plan came from, who the instructions came from?
Tamil.
It was from the zone.
I'm asking you, sir, do you know if there was a meeting in Svai 1 or 2 months before the dam began?
Yes, there was a meeting held in Svai, and only leaders were requested to attend the meeting.
Did any leaders come from the center? Did anyone come from the center party?
It seemed there was none, or even if there was, I would not know because I did not know them, and nor did they tell me about those people.
Sir, let me remind you of something that you said in the interview recorded by DC Cam. This is for counsel and your honors in Khmer ERN 0072 8803. In English 0073 1127. And in French 011 23 722. You told probably in 1977. But they met 1 or 2 months earlier. They conducted the study on the site before they made the decision and forming a committee. Danny asked you who was present at the meeting. You said Tan Niem. He asked, were there any people from the Central Party? And you said they came, but I did not know them. He asked you down a few lines to tell him more about the meeting place. And you said you did not know anybody from the Central Party in Phnom Penh. You said no, you did not. But did they come, you were asked? And you said yes. You also said Tan Niem came to the meeting. You also said people from the sector, from Ta Hong's region. You also said all members of the district committee. Going down to the next page in English, you then said that they first met in Svai and then in Trapang Tamal. Danny asked you if you came to the meeting, and you said no. And you were asked, but why did you know about the meeting? You said, well, they told us that tomorrow there will be a meeting with Central Party members, District Committee, Chief of Zone, and Region. Is what I said correct, that that's what you told the interviewers in 2011? Waiting for your response. I'm not sure, sir, if I need to read that all again. Can you tell me if you heard what I read? I'm still waiting for you to respond. Did you hear what I read, and did you hear my question, or do you want me to read it again, or just repeat the question?
No, I couldn't get at your question.
Sir? Okay. Sir, I'm going to read again and try to summarize go to the key points only. You said that the Trapang Tamal Dam started in February, probably in 1977, but that 1 or 2 months earlier there was a meeting, that at the meeting there was Tan Niem and people from the Central Party. You also said that there were people from Ta Hong's region and all members of the district committee. And you said the chief of the mobile brigade, Ta Vol. You were asked, where did they meet? And you said, first in Svai and then Trapang Tamal. You said that you did not go to the meeting, that they told us that tomorrow there will be a meeting with Central Party members, District Committee, Chief of Zone, and Region. Is that correct, that you were told about this meeting in Svai and Trapiang Tamal about the dam?
But yes, that is correct. After the meeting was held in Svai, then another meeting was held at the Trapiang Small Dam website.
And were you told that Central Party members, District Committee, Chief of Zone, and Region were all present at the meeting?
No, they did not tell us those details. The information was later disseminated regarding the work plan for the dam construction.
Well, sir, in the DC Cam interview, which was recorded, this is what you said. You said, well, they told us that tomorrow there will be a meeting with Central Party members, District Committee, Chief of Zone, and Region. Did you lie to those interviewers?
No, that's how they told us. But I did not know details of the names of those people, and indeed a meeting was convened.
And did they tell you that Central Party members were present?
From what I heard, yes, but I did not know who actually attended the meeting.
When you were working at the dam for the mobile brigade, what was your food ration?
Regarding the food ration during the busy period, we were given 3 cans of rice per day each. However, during the normal period, the ration reduced to 1.5 cans, and sometimes it reduced further.
Now you said that, by the way, did others in different types of workers get different rations? For example, when you were assigned to collect fertilizer, what was the ration you received then?
For the for those carrying fertilizer, they receive the same rations as we did, and that also applied to other workers in other mobile units.
You're saying, my question is, when you were collecting fertilizer, which did you receive? Did you receive 3 cans of rice? You said sometimes that was when you were working hard, and when not working hard, it would be a can and a half, I believe you said. What did you do when you collected fertilizer?
When I carried fertilizer, if other workers receive
not sound like a pleasant job. Sir, why were you taken from being the assistant to Taval and sent to collect fertilizer?
But
I did not know what mistake I made, and I was reassigned to carry fertilizer, so I did. And I thought that maybe somebody made an accusation against me. That's why I was reassigned.
Who reassigned you?
Tawal held a meeting, and he was the one who reassigned me to carry fertilizer number 1.
Why didn't you ask him why you were reassigned?
During the regime, nobody dared to ask any question. If you were assigned to carry out a task, you had to carry it out. Nobody dared to ask.
Could you have, well, why didn't you refuse the job?
mình
I did not dare to refuse it, as I just mentioned it. During the regime, you could not refuse it. And I was already fearful when I was being reassigned. So how could I dare to refuse the reassignment?
Sir, when you said you were fearful, it may be obvious to you, but can you explain to us what were you afraid of? What were you afraid of happening to you?
The fear was that I was wondering if someone made an accusation against me. If that is the case, then I would be in a big risky situation that I might be arrested and sentenced to be killed.
Were you aware of that happening to other people?
I might have heard about it, but personally I did not see it. At that time, we only whispered to one another about the disappearance of this worker or that worker for no reason.
Do you recall if many workers disappeared for no reason during the time you were working at the dam?
People disappeared without any reason. And in fact, during the regime, nobody dared ask any question about this issue. For example, if I was to be taken away, and that's the end of the story. Nobody dared to ask about why I was being taken away.
By the way, on this subject, were you ever questioned about by officials during the regime about the fact that you had previously been a teacher and a monk?
but
No, they did not ask me any question on this matter. However, we were asked to make our biography, and
that, or did you keep that secret at the time to protect yourself?
I actually did not disclose it, and I wrote that I studied at a pagoda. And in fact, they asked villagers from my village about my education, but they didn't learn anything since the villagers did not know as to which grade I studied up to.
Thank you. How long were you assigned to collect fertilizer?
mahal
To my recollection, I did that job for 5 to 6 months, and only after Daval had been arrested that I stopped that work.
Do you know approximately when Taval was arrested?
anukan
I can only tell you the estimate time. It happened in 1977, and it could be in late 1977, or rather, it could be in early part of the year.
Who arrested Taval?
I didn't know that for sure.
Do you know where he was taken?
No, I did not. I only heard that he was called to attend a study session, and he disappeared since, and I did not know where he was arrested.
You said early 1977. Who was the zone leader, if you recall, at the time that Taval was arrested?
It was Ruhnium.
Do you know if the people that arrested Taval were from the Northwest Zone or originally from another zone?
I could not possibly know that. The situation was fluid and remained changing at the time.
After you said you worked collecting fertilizer. Taval, where he came from.
He was a former Phnom Srop district deputy committee.
So he was also from the Northwest. Is that correct? Northwest zone?
បាទ
Yes, that is correct.
In the job that you had distributing rice, who did you report to?
At that time, I reported to Brother John, who was actually in charge of the mobile unit and the supervision of the paying.
And this was, would it be correct that this mobile unit was the mobile unit for Sector 5?